Well, hi there, Papa Bruce again. It's been quite a while since I've got a video out, and this one we're going to talk about campground hosting. If you've been following the channel for some time, you know that I've done quite a bit of campground hosting over the years, and we come to Montana in the summertime and do that for the Forest Service. Well, what I'm going to do is try to answer some of the questions that we've had over the years about campground hosting and what the job is all about and how you go about and getting it and that type of thing. This question people generally ask me is, boy, that's a nice campsite, it's a beautiful campground. How do I get to be a campground host? And I would answer that question with a question, which is, why do you want to be a host? And most would respond to that by saying they like the idea of having a free campsite. Well, that part is true, but there's a little more to it than just that. First of all, you're a campground host. You are not a campground cop. My job is to tell people, if necessary, what the rules are, but I don't enforce those. We have people that do the enforcement. So basically, I help people find a camp spot if they need some help, the right campsite I should say, and also give them some ideas about the hiking and other recreational activities in the area. Elaborate on that a bit. I've made some notes here about the questions that I've had. But if you were really interested in being a host, the first thing I would do is decide on what area of the country do you want to be all summer long. This is a good time for me to point out that all of the different areas are different. They have different rules, different per diems, different length of stay, different duties. For instance, we are right now in a Forest Service campground, and we've been here, my wife and I, probably going on close to 10 years now. But this is one forest. There are many national forests within the country, and they all have their own rules and regulations, and you have to check with each one. They're not all the same. I don't know for sure, but I think the BLM is the same way. And we did host for the Bureau of Reclamation, and I know that is also the same way. They vary from campground to campground location. Why do I do this? People ask me, particularly if I have a problem that I have to solve, and then they say, well, that sounds like a lot of work. Why are you doing it? Well, I'm doing it because I've spent lots of years in this area, particularly in the Bitterroot Selway, in the wilderness area. And I like it. I like to protect it. I like to make sure the campground is clean and everybody feels welcome here. So in that respect, there are some rules that I would enforce, particularly during a fire ban or for quiet time with generators running and that type of thing. I would want to make sure that everybody adheres to those rules for the enjoyment of everybody else. I've asked often, what do you do all day long? You can't be talking to campers all day, and that's true. We are lucky to be in a recreation area that we help take care of, and in this recreation area we have a lot of horseback riding trails. We have a trail that goes directly into the wilderness. We have trails for mountain biking, hiking, nature trails. We also have a day use area, which is a picnic area. So I generally spend 2 or 3 trips, swing through all those areas with my truck, and answer questions, talk to people, and just basically be a host for the whole area. Okay, moving along. What do you do? Again, that varies from campground to campground or agency to agency, but generally the title says it all, campground host. You are a host, you're not the campground cop. tell people about the areas, help them find camping spots, answer questions about fees. I give in this particular area in Montana a lot of advice about hiking in the Bitterroot Subway Wilderness, various trails and lakes that I've been to, and maybe a little bit about the fishing. I just had a camper just yesterday come back from hiking up the creek and doing a little fly fishing. He was using a dry fly and he caught a couple fish. So then I spotted another camper the next day getting his fly fishing equipment ready, and told him what this person had done. But I don't enforce any fishing rules. I don't give out any information about regulations because I just don't know. It can get rather complicated from state to state, and I just try to give local advice as far as what we're doing. Let's see. Oh, also I should mention, maybe I have, that it does vary from location to location. So some, I know in the Forest Service particularly, some locations the campground host might also pick up the garbage, maybe even help clean the outhouses and do that type of thing. We don't happen to do that here, but it is part of the job in many of the locations. Another question I get fairly often is, well, do you get paid? Sort of, I guess. And again, like so many things, it depends on where you are hosting. Most places will pay a per diem, which is non-taxable, but it basically just covers any expenses you might have out of pocket, like gas and that type of thing. I drive around the campground now, and actually another question came to mind. Something that I don't know, it's really come about the last 3 or 4 years, and that's, what do you do about the homeless? And my answer would be, what's homeless? Is this homeless? Or is this a homeless? Neither one of them have homes. One of them has a tent and a lot of crap, and the other one has a motorhome. Everybody has a right to a campsite. I don't care whether you're in a little tent or whether you're in a $200,000 motorhome. There's no difference. Size doesn't matter. And that's just the philosophy I use. However, I will have to admit that often those that are homeless don't necessarily have the best looking, neatest, cleanest sites. And that's where I draw the line, is that everybody must keep their campsite neat and clean. We have had bears in this area, and once they get into your garbage, they're an absolute mess. And my little puppy here, Jasper, doesn't like them. So that's one good reason to keep the place clean. Here's a shot at a couple of a bear that I took with my trail cam just the other day.